After school here, I thought I'd create a video here, take a break from gaming, and talk about how I level my characters. Leveling new characters is kind of a point of contention in Path of Exile. Some people enjoy leveling their new characters, others really don't. They've played the campaign so many times they don't find it really to be enjoyable. In most cases, though, people want to get through the leveling process as quickly and as efficiently as they can, so they can kind of get on to the point where they're really playing the character they want to play, doing the content they want to play. I enjoy leveling characters, but again, I do like to do it as quickly as I can without really pushing too hard. Not a speed leveler, but I can complete the campaign in 5 or 6 hours if I have some starting equipment for my alt. And I just want to talk about how I get my character to a playable state. Really enjoying this league, so I've already leveled around 10 characters, and just experimenting with different skills and different mechanics to see what might be fun to play and interesting. So I developed this Golem Elementalist. I have a separate video that covers this build. It's not a great build, but it is kind of fun. It's an enjoyable build, so if you want to check that out, you can see that video. So the first point is talking about the meaning of leveling. For some people, when they talk about leveling, they're just talking about the end of the campaign. Complete the kill the boss at the end of Act 10. And typically going to be around level 60 to 70, depending on how much time they spent in a campaign. Maybe even 59, but you know, 60, 62, 65, 67, that's pretty typical for end of campaign. Some people will talk about leveling. They mean actually leveling to the point where you can equip building enabling items. And so they might have a level restriction of 68 or even higher, 80. New bases have 84. So when they talk about leveling, they may in fact be talking about even into mapping and endgame where they can access these higher level items. So when people talk about leveling, just keep that in mind. They might be talking about one of these two different things. So starting with a good leveling skill is really helpful. Your character, you may want to play a certain skill, but it may not be good until you have the items you need for it. It may not even work without the items you need for it. And so there's a couple of leveling skills that are really strong even early on in the campaign, and they tend to taper off as you get further into the game. But if you start with these, you'll be able to get through the campaign quickly and efficiently. First skill, Rolling Magma. I think most people know about this. Incredibly powerful from level 1. Can be used really on any class, no investment, and it's really going to help you a lot. Absolution is one that I use a lot because I'm often leveling Witch or Templar. If you're in the left side of the tree, upper part of the tree, top of the tree, then Absolution is really a great leveling skill. It's one of my favorites. We don't talk about it quite as much anymore, but it is a fantastic leveling skill today for certain. It's got both a direct attack component and a minion component, so it's kind of a unique skill by itself. It does tend to taper off in the end game, but there is Absolution of Inspiring, which is transfigured version, which can produce a pretty good build, but generally people just use this for leveling. Poisonous concoctions, good if you're on the right side of the tree and you have access to the poison nodes. You could theoretically use it on the left side of the tree, but it might be not quite as powerful. And really all you need is 2 to 3 good life flasks to make this skill function very well. It's an unarmed attack, so you don't even need a weapon. You just have a shield for defense. And then it uses your life flasks to power this skill. So you want to upgrade your flasks as quickly as possible whenever you're able to. You probably want to use at least a transmute on them to hopefully get one that has higher capacity. but super powerful skill for the campaign. There is transfigured version, poisonous concoction of bouncing, which people really like, but you have to pay probably a divine to get it, or get super lucky getting it from the labyrinth. It's not necessary, it's just quality of life. Standard poisonous concoction, perfectly fine for leveling your character. Just like explosive concoction, also unarmed, so you don't need a weapon again. If you can get the elemental flasks, ruby or sapphire and or topaz, they'll make this even more powerful, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can take elemental damage on the tree. If you had a weapon with other equipment that empower your elemental skills, this is one that a lot of people are using these days. Radiant Crusade is really standout here. If you're leveling a Templar and you ascend to Guardian, one of the nodes you can take on the Ascendancy tree is Radiant Crusade. It gives you a Sentinel of Radiance, which is a minion, and it'll follow you around. It does fire damage over time to anything around it. It's extremely powerful, and it can carry you even into mid-tier yellow maps, no problem. Don't really need any kind of investment for this. So if you're a Guardian, you can basically just use this. You don't need anything else to make it through the campaign. If you're going to use it, you're going to want an automation linked to a convocation, and this will periodically trigger the convocation, which will pull the Sentinel of Radiance to you. So it's always going to be near you, doing damage to the mobs that are around you. Really a great skill. And those are the ones that I really know and use. I mainly play top and left side of the tree. So if you're on the right side, you're on the bottom of the tree, melee, I don't know what people use, but if you're following a guide, most of them will have a leveling section, and you can just follow that. If you're going it your own, trying to do something by yourself without a guide, then one of these skills I just listed can really be a good way to go. As far as leveling items, these are pretty common. Gold Rim is a helmet that has a bunch of elemental resists. You don't really need to cap your resist until the second half of the campaign, but Gold Rim will really make that easy for you. And it's a little bit helpful earlier on as well. I use Bramblejack, which is body armor. It's got some defense to it. I just use a 4-link. 4-link is all you really need for the campaign and even into maps with a good leveling skill. And so that's what I use. I just have one. You can equip it at level 1. 7-league step. It's 50% movement speed boots. That's about all I need to say about it, I think. They can be a little expensive. Maybe they're 40 chaos or something like that. So a lot of people will recommend Wanderlust instead, which give you a little bit of movement speed and can't be frozen. But I'm always going to go for the 50% movement speed because it's quality of life. And along those lines, Kirui Ward is an amulet that's got movement speed and dex. Those stats can really be helpful, especially if you are a minion build, witch build, top side of the tree, left side of the tree. It's hard to get dexterity, and that can really be solved with this, or at least make your life a little easier. Astromentus has a huge amount of stats, and so any character in any situation, your stat problems will be solved with this amulet. It doesn't have any other mods on it, so it's just fixing stats, but it's really quite a helpful tool. I often use Aberrath's Horn, which is a wand that's got fire damage and life gain. If you're doing a fire skill, this is a really good wand. You can look for other inexpensive uniques that maybe suit the skill that you're using. But this is what I generally almost always use. Just pairs beautifully with Rolling Magma, for example. It's actually, although not ideal, it's fine for Absolution. I don't know how you say this next one. This pair of gloves that produce charges, frenzy, power, and endurance charges. So charges are always helpful. They don't really do that much. It's probably a better choice for the glove slot, but charges look cool, so why not? It works fine. Thieves' Torment is a ring, which is really excellent and not often mentioned, but it's got incredible sustain for attack builds. I'll just go over to the wiki page here. And you can see it's got gain 40 to 60 life per enemy hit. You don't have to kill, just hit. And then also mana gain. So as long as you're attacking, during the campaign, if you're a fast attack character, and you've got Thieves' Torment, your sustain is pretty much infinite. If you've got enough life pool to not get one shot, you're practically immortal. Just a matter of you getting your attack out faster than the mob. So really a fantastic tool. It's also got all res on it. The downside is you can only wear this ring. You can't wear a second ring. So if you can use this, it's a great tool for your character leveling. All right, there are many more items, but those are the ones I use. You can search for guides on leveling items, and everyone has their opinion, and some of the common items you'll see there as well. All right, so here's how I actually leveled my character. This is remember, going to be a Golem character, Golem only character. And so Act 1 through 4, approximately, I used Rolling Magma. I switched over to Golems at Act 4, and honestly, this was a terrible idea. Even with some of the Golem items to power it up, it was really terribly weak. Low damage, and fairly slow. Still finished the campaign, I think, in 6 hours, but compared to a proper leveling skill, it was kind of ridiculous. So my character here at the end of the campaign, level 61, saved, exported a copy from Path of Building. I actually capped my resist, which is really unusual for me during the campaign. The second half of the campaign, you should try to cap your resist. As long as you're, 50% or above, you'll generally be okay. You're going to die sometimes. Capping them will always be best, but I'm really super lazy about it, honestly. And I've played the campaign enough times that usually it's not too much of a problem for me. This is my gear. I did switch to a tabula because I really did need 6 links with the golems because they were just so weak. Even with 6 links, it was not very good. Using a clay shaper, 2 of them, which give me an extra golem and some physical damage. Gold rim for resist. Primordial chain, more golems. Weaker golems, but more of them. I was going for... anyways, I'll explain the build a little bit later. Got a Lahoop of all, which is basically got some stats on here. Some all res. I needed to fix my dexterity, most likely. So I pulled this one out of my unique stash tab. It's a pretty good leveling item if you need stats. So I probably should have mentioned that as well. Ring is just some ring that I found that dropped during the campaign. Here are my gloves that produce charges. Belt of the Deceiver, it's got some all res, it's got some life, and its enemies are intimidated, means they take increased damage. I was really trying to get some more damage from these minions, and I think that's why I use this belt. And then, of course, movement speed boosts. For flasks, somewhere in the campaign you'll find a anti-bleed flask either on the vendor, or maybe you'll roll it, or maybe it'll drop for you. So I just tend to keep whatever level anti-bleed flask I happen to find, and then I keep upgrading my second life flask. That'll be a higher capacity life flask. The affixes on these, except for bleeding, are just random. That's what they came with when I found them. Did find an enduring mana flask, which is usually going to be your best bet. It'll keep your mana topped off pretty much in any situation. So enduring is a nice affix to have had there, but I don't necessarily roll a mana flask for it during the campaign. And mapping I might if the character really needs it. Or it's for phasing. This character really needs to be able to just walk through the mobs because the minions are doing the damage and you don't want to get stuck someplace because you're reasonably defenseless. And then always movement speed flask. And I did go to my crafting bench and put on the used when charges reach full. So it's automated, which is always a nice thing. I did have the Golem jewels here. These aren't particularly cheap. This league, people are excited about golems again, so they're going to cost you a bit. Not my first character, of course, so I had some currency to do that. And I really don't encourage you to level with golems as your main skill anyways. The tree I'm not going to go into detail on. That's not really the point of this guide, but it's a pretty typical minion tree. If you're familiar with the golem node, the minion nodes, you'll see that I took most of them. Okay, so I got to endgame mapping. Now my character at this point, as you see, is bad, very bad. Golems are not strong, defenses are terrible, practically non-existent, so how am I going to progress my character? Well, I bought 5 tier 1 blighted maps. Blighted maps, if you looked at my Blight guide, you can look up that video in my channel. You really don't need any kind of character at all. If your character can move around, well, you can succeed at Blight. So this is how I'm going to level my character. I paid, I guess, 4 chaos per map, so that's around 20 chaos. And I anointed them with an amber and 2 verdant oils. Amber makes the cost of tower building cheaper. It's going to guarantee success in the map or increase the likelihood of it significantly. And verdant increases the experience gain in the map. I did roll them, so I elked them to add some quantity to them, and I used a regular expression from this website. Again, I go over this in my Blight guide, but it allows you to select the map modifiers that you can't use, these ones that can't be stunned and action speed can't be modified below base value are crucial to block when it comes to running blighted maps. So I elked my blighted maps, and then I used this regular expression. I'll show you how that works actually. I have some blighted maps here. These are white, so I'll just elk them. I'm going to paste in that regular expression to search, and you can see it's highlighting the ones that are okay for me to run. And it... Someone's MTX. And then this one has monsters can't be stunned on it, so it's not highlighted because of this regular expression. So I need to scour it, and I need to elk it again. And instead of elks, you can use Orbs of Binding, is that what they're called? Orbs of Binding. These are really helpful during the campaign, but less so later on. So these do the same, they will elk a map just the same way an elk will, but it'll save you, a useful currency that you could use on gear versus something that you're probably not using in the end game. Just thought I'd mention that. Anyways, my regular expression tells me all these maps are good to run, so I'm ready to go. That's how I do kind of an elk and go strategy with these blighted maps. And then, as I mentioned, the oils I use, 1 amber, Okay, reduce cost of building towers, and then 2 Verdans. Increases experience gain. 90%, nearly doubling it. That's pretty good. Click anoint, and now this map is anointed with those items, with those oils, and it's elked. It's got okay quantity, it's nothing special, but we don't want anything special. We just want to be able to be successful in the map, get a little bit of loot out of it, but mainly to gain experience. Okay, back to the guide. And so after running these 5 maps, I gained about 30 to 40 chaos worth of usable currency. I have a very strict loot filter. So it's not junk, it's not useless stuff that I'll never sell, never use. It's genuinely useful currency. So I paid around 20 for these maps, and I came out of it with 40. So definitely made some money, and yeah, that's not too bad if you're just starting out. Okay, so then between level 68 73, I ran yellow tier blights. I bought 10 tier 8 blighted maps. I rolled them using my regular expression. And I don't know why I have 20 and 30. This is, I copied this from the line above, so just ignore that. Use the same oils, make towers cheaper and more experience. And I think I paid 3 chaos per maps, even cheaper. Yeah, it was even cheaper for tier 8. There's just not as many people looking for them. And I found some kind of amount of currency out of them. I think I probably broke even. Nothing of any real value dropped, but I'm sure that I at least made my money back. I made 24 chaos out of 10 blighted maps is guaranteed. I made a little bit of profit, but nothing worth mentioning. I did fail 3 of them because I don't have the ring annoyance yet, and character is extremely terrible, so these things will happen. Sometimes you get unlucky with tower placement and there's just kind of nothing you can do, but for the most part it was doing fine. And actually at this point my golems were doing okay, killing the first couple of waves of the mobs. Only the first though. Once the bosses come out, forget it. You know, the bosses, the golems are useless. So I just want to be clear about that. I'm definitely not clearing these maps with golems. I'm clearing the maps with towers. You just want to be able to kill the first couple of waves of monsters so you can get some points to build additional towers. So here I'm at level 74. I upgraded my character, mainly with equipment that I just happen to have. These gloves, for example, were just from another character that I swiped. I don't know where this belt came from, but it's nothing special for sure. I've got my 3 main golem gems, or jewels. Still using Clay Shaper. I put on the Maw of Mischief because what I intended to use this character for was one where you blow up your minions and start ignites, and then because I'm elementalist, the golems will reform after 4 seconds. So that's what this helmet's about. I threw on this shield. I wasn't really quite sure to think about it because it's got spell block, quite a bit of spell block. That's really nice. It's got all res. That's great. It's got it's got maximum resistances. That's good. But can't block attack damage. What I learned in this experiment is for a character like this, spell block is everything, and attack block is not very useful. So this shield was surprisingly effective. It's not well regarded because, well, you can't block attack damage, but in reality, if you have a character like this where you tend to be behind your minions, behind your proxies, it's good. It's very good. Nothing really special to say about the character at this point. Okay. Level 75 to 84. Alright, so I checked Wealthy Exile, and it said I had 214 div in my stash. And that's everything. That's stuff that, you know, low-level stuff that I'll never use or sell. I'd log out, except I want to show you a couple of things in the game, so we just have to put up with this silly MTX. I anointed my rings. That is the Freeze Anoint, which is silver and opalescent oil, and Meteor Towers have Burning Ground, which is violent and I forget. But anyways, these are relatively expensive anoints, but they make a huge difference when you're in red tier or Blight Ravaged maps. Necessary. Now I really screwed up because I wanted to buy Blight Ravaged maps, but I don't know, maybe I didn't have enough coffee, but I selected regular tier 16 non-Blight Ravaged, just plain Blighted maps. And they're the same price as Blight Ravaged. So I bought 10 of them for 2 divs. This is a terrible price. If you're gonna not go Blight Ravaged, you should go with tier 13 or 14 Blighted maps because they're much cheaper and you can still drop the same loot from them. So it's a much more affordable way to do it. I have to go to my hideout. I can't take this MTX. Okay. Alright, I chiseled for quantity, I alked, I used the regular expression, and whatever sacrifice fragments that happened to drop from the map. One map failed out of the 10. I think it was just unlucky tower placement and notable loot. So I dropped 3 Blight Ravaged maps, which is really nice. I got some exalts, I got some opalescent oils, but nothing really crazy. In my stash, I upgraded all my oils and essences, just so you know. And Blight here, you click the upgrade, or you can sell oils 3-to-1 to the vendor. You can upgrade your oils, so each time I click, 3 of these oils are converted to the next tier up. And so, for example, these 3 silver oils can become a golden oil. Yeah, so I upgraded all my oils, all my essences. Upgrade does the same thing here. I don't have anything to upgrade, but anyways, I did. And then checked Wealthy Exile, and it said I was at about 215 divs, so I at least broke even though I ridiculously overpaid for these Blighted maps. I was kind of a little worried that I might lose some money that by running these 10 maps, but it worked out okay anyways. So then I switched to actual Blight Ravaged maps here. I had the 3 that dropped from the T16s that I ran, and I went with high investment strategy. I haven't done this in a while, so I was kind of curious to see how it'd work out. 3 silver oils, 1 opalescent, 2 black, 2 amber, 1 verdant. So the silver, these are all reward oils, increase the rewards of the map, and then amber increases or decreases the cost of towers, makes it much easier to be successful in the map, and verdant for some extra experience gain. So in all, that's about 390 chaos for map investment. That's high investment for me. Alright, so how did it go? I had one partial fail, meaning that at the end of one of the maps, some mobs did somehow slip through the trap that I set up for them in the map, and so I did get probably 90% of the loot from the map in any case. My notable loot here, and I'll show you here in game, more fun to look at it here. On the right side is the high investment map strategy loot that I collected. Actually, I'm mixing up here because this was from my second set too. Got Stampede, These are the Blight boots. You can anoint them. It's 62% increased cooldown recovery, so that roll isn't particularly great, but still, these would sell for something, I don't know, 30 or 40 chaos. I got 3 double anointed amulets, and I think they're all pretty much worthless, but anyways, it's always interesting to see what you're going to get. This one, maybe somebody might use. It's got some stuff with stun, and it's got endurance charges, which everyone is happy with endurance charges, so maybe somebody would actually want this. It's on a terrible base, though, so I don't know. Fun to drop them, but 99% of the time they're useless. I don't know if I've ever gotten a good one. 5 prismatic oils. This is combining with this next section of loot. When I checked it, I think these were even 300 chaos, so that's quite a bit. Dropped to this is over 1 div of value here in this scarab. These are something like 45 chaos. Dropped 2 raw div. Gift to the Goddess, I believe, is around 2 divs. And then I got these jewels. Tier 1 attack speed with wands. I could see someone with kinetic bolt maybe using this. And tier 1 attack speed on a searching eye jewel. Probably helpful for somebody. So those might have some value. I haven't price checked them, but they were notable loot, I would say. On the left side is the loot from my low value, my low investment Blight strategy that I ran separate from this leveling run. And each row is 1 map that I ran, so I picked the most notable loot from that map. If there's a map here, it just means I didn't get anything interesting at all, right? I got a Valdos. I got a Jewel, which maybe somebody would use. Maybe a totem build that needs the reduced effective curses. I'm not sure. Scouting reports. Nothing. A div. This isn't really worth anything. I just like the way it looks, so I stuck it in here. Here is a double anointed item here. Projectiles and totems. So this is something somebody might actually want. Ice Spear totem build, for example, could be good. Yeah, I don't know what else people are playing with totems these days. Nothing. Prismatic oil, Valdos, golden oil, and nothing. So you can see out of a relatively small number of high investment maps, I really generated quite a bit of loot. My low investment, though, it's really not too bad. I don't know which way is more profitable in terms of per map, results. A low investment may be even, but the high investment will generate loot faster, like more divs per hour. I probably haven't really spreadsheeted it out. More a matter of preference. I don't like running the high investment because it's a little stressful. You just put almost 400 chaos into a map, 1 map, and then you start the map and the tower placement's really bad. Yeah, that's just not really a good feeling. So, I don't know, up to you, but that's the results. Alright, so I upgraded my character. I bought a Dark Monarch because I decided to go for maximum golems instead of the Ignite Golem approach with a Maw of Mischief. I really didn't like the feel of it. I played it before with Dark Marionettes when they respawned very quickly. 4 seconds between golems respawning, though, and just wasn't feeling good to me. Dark Monarch, you can look at my video on this Golem Build, maximum Golem Build, see what I thought of it there. I bought more Blight Ravaged maps. I failed one, notable loots. I talked about the loot, but in one case I had a endlessly replicating rare. It was kind of crazy. I've had duplicating mod before, but I've never seen it duplicate for this long. It is completely ridiculous. Last mob left in the map, and it just kept splitting, kept splitting, kept splitting. I literally just went AFAK while my golems and my towers fought this thing. I think it could have maybe even taken 15 minutes to finally kill this last mob. But that's how you complete the map. That's how you get the loot from the pump. I could have let it through, but I don't know. It was a little crazy. It seemed more like a glitch than a intended mechanic. I also crashed. I think I don't know if I lost a map or not that way, but people have been complaining about the performance of this league. I really haven't experienced it, so I was a little bit surprised, but it's started happening to me as well. So that's another kind of strike against high investment approach to these things. You rather go low investment, and then if something happens that's outside of my control, then it's not kind of setting me back quite as harshly. So in the end, I checked with Wealthy Exile, and I was up to 220 div. That includes this notable loot and everything else, and then also paying, 390 chaos worth of oils into these maps and the map itself that I could have otherwise sold. So I was up 6 divs. My character was equipped with the gear I needed, and I was able to level this up with broken bad character, and it was really quite easy. So this is the approach I use to leveling. It worked here in this example very, very well. I got to a level where the character could live on its own and begin mapping and doing the mechanics I was interested in experimenting with it. Could equip all the gear that I needed, and yeah, this was a good way to go. So if you're going to try this, especially if you're newer to Blight, I'd really recommend a lower investment approach to Blight Ravaged. They'll still be profitable, you'll still gain your experience, but it won't be quite as stressful, and disasters won't set you back. And by low investment, I mean, just as an example here, if this were my Blight Ravaged map, it's not, I would put in even 3 amber. This is going to very significantly reduce the cost of your towers. You can just build a ton of towers all over your map, everywhere. Traps, damaging towers, everything you need to stop the mobs and to kill them. As long as you don't get unlucky, you're likely to be successful. And then you could put in 3 Verdant. That's going to significantly increase your experience gain in the map. And remember, with Blight Ravaged, you can anoint them 9 times. So 3 Ambers, 3 Verdants. It's going to make towers super cheap. It's going to amp up your experience gain dramatically. And then you could put in 3 Azures. They increase pack size, which can include loot drops. And let's see, varieties contain 15 loot. Light chests are lucky, so you're going to have better loot, and these Azures drop like crazy in these maps, so it's essentially free. That's 9 oils that cost you nothing. It's just going to be the cost of the Blight Ravaged map that you could have otherwise sold. And you're going to have a map that's going to be hard to not succeed at. You're going to get a lot of experience gain out of it, and you're going to get enough loot to sustain your character. You get a lot of map drops, so it's really helpful for map sustain and for completing your atlas. I just think it's sort of an ideal mechanic for a player like me, and maybe it's helpful for you too. Okay, that's the video. Again, hopefully that's helpful. you're interested in checking out this Golem character I actually played, I have a separate video on that. It's not a great character, but it's kind of an interesting one in my opinion. And I also have my Blight guide, which can help you understand how to use Blight, especially if you're a newer player or you're early on in the campaign. You want to level an alt. It's just a fantastic mechanic for a variety of purposes. I also have my witch leveling guide, which shows you how to use Absolution for any of the 3 witch ascendancies. You could also use it just as easily with Templar. That'll get you through the campaign with no problems at all. That's it for now. Have fun.